to Wine Library TV. I am your host, Gary Vaynerchuk, and this, my friends, is The Thunder Show, aka the internet's most passionate wine program, and we have a phenomenal guest, an amazing subject matter, but I just want to address, I know it's Monday, and hopefully I still have this beard mod. Obviously, I'm taping this ahead because I'm flying to Cincinnati, today, which was this weekend. I'm really hoping my Jets did it, and I'll be back live in the studio on Tuesday, so I will respond to your comments on that. And I'm really excited to have Cliff here. Why don't you tell the Vayner Nation who you are and how you got here?
All right, well, my name's Cliff. I am a sommelier at the Plaza Hotel in New York City. I have started a project called Wines of Croatia, which is really meant to bring the message of Croatia to everybody out there about these fantastic wines that I truly believe in and truly love. Croatia has been making wines for centuries, but they're really not a presence in the modern wine market. We would like to change that.
What started that, Cliff? Your passion for Croatian wines?
It goes way back. My father was born in Croatia, on a beautiful little island called Murter, right on the Adriatic seaside, where they make some wonderful wines, some of which we'll taste today. So going back to my days of going to university in Croatia, I fell in love with Croatian wines. Really found out along the way that there wasn't very much information about them out there. Started looking when the internet went live. There still wasn't much on there. Whatever was on there was in a million different locations, little bits and pieces of info. So I've decided to kind of pull it all together onto a website, which I am building, called Wines of Croatia, which will go live by February 1st.
Congratulations. Is there any reason we should link it up now? Can people sign up now for any
People can sign up now. Yes,
yeah? Okay.
They will be.
So Mott, link that up, and I'm going to give a little public announcement real quick.
Absolutely.
Boston Wine Expo, South Beach Wine Festival. I will be doing both. Mott, please link both of those up. If you're in the New England area, I hope I get to see you. The Boston Wine Expo is awesome. It's my 4th year in a row. And South Beach is, Miami's a lot of fun. It's going to be, all the Food Network stars will be there. Should be a lot of fun. So, Mott, please link those things up along with the winesofcroatia.com.
Winesofcroatia.com.
Was that available, or did you buy that off somebody?
No, it was surprisingly available.
That's pretty good. I mean, even though it's a small niche, I mean, there's things like, sentences.com that aren't available.
And
okay.
If I can say, we're also on Facebook and Twitter.
Good.
You can follow us there.
Mott, thank you so much, sir. And what's this stuff here? We'll get it off the table.
As part of our whole promotional initiative that I am undertaking here, we have a book that was recently published in English called A Guide to the Wines of Croatia by a good friend of mine named Sasha Spiranac.
Sasha. Any pronunciation Sasha?
Sasha.
My dad would like that, but S-A-S-A, no H. Okay.
And that will be available on the website. It's also available if you
Amazon,
contact me. I'll let you know how to get it.
Okay.
And
crazy stuff like pull the ear and
exactly.
Okay.
And this DVD, which has also been translated in English with English subtitles. It is a beautifully filmed documentary about the wine roads of Croatia. You will love it.
Awesome. How did you get into wine?
I kind of got there through my passion for food.
Okay.
Was initially training to be a chef. Through that process, discovered that I loved wine and food pairings. Mm-hmm. Found myself gravitating more towards wanting to know more about the wines. Eventually decided...
Because of the alcohol, or because you thought it was interesting?
Just interesting. I love the whole connection between the culinary experience, the environment, the earth, the art, and the science behind what goes into making wine.
So terroir seduced you?
Terroir seduced me, and I am in its throes, as you say.
Very cool. All right. Yeah. So I'm really excited about these 4 wines. Now, as I was pricing them up, as you gave me the suggested retail, they're not inexpensive. And,
they are not.
And for me, anytime you're trying to break through, and everybody knows the reason I started this show is to get people to try different things, and nothing would make me more excited than if the Vayner Nation, the Vayniacs out there went out and tried these Croatian wines. But, when you're showing people new parts of the world, cost of entry is a factor. And when I see a $40 white wine, a $29 wine, a $55 double Nichols red, and a $21 late harvest Riesling, it's not we're not talking 7. Portugal as a country I think deserves more credit. That's easy. 7, 8, 12. Are you concerned? And I've had some great Croatian wines, so I'm not concerned about quality. Mm-hmm. Are you concerned that the price might be too? Not too big of a barrier, but is it a significant barrier until it gets its just due? And so to get it jump started, is that a concern for you?
Yes and no. It is because price is everything. If someone can't afford the wine, they can experience it.
Right.
And we want them to experience it. So, price, I think, the important thing to know about Croatia is a small country, 4.5 million people. It's only got the entire country has 16,000 hectares of vineyards. Most wines that come out of Croatia are small production, handcrafted, high quality wines.
Are there any value? I mean, is there a wine in the States, or has the potential of coming into the States that would be 12 bones?
Yes.
Yes. And that's quality.
A number of our importers here in the U.S., and including myself, we're working on it. Working on talking to the winemakers, working on some projects that will come together and bring a $12 to $14 bottles.
So collectively, you guys are all saying, listen, we all have to work on together. Everybody needs to work on lower margins to create a scenario where the U.S. population can have a cost that allows them to at least experience it and get it into motion.
Because you want to be able to experience these terroir-driven, handcrafted wines, but you also want to have a gateway wine that's going to introduce somebody to the experience. If you don't have a gateway,
without Côte de Rhône, there's a lot of people who don't drink Chateauneuf de Pop.
There is one or two of them now currently on the market. There's a $14 wine called Pelishats from the Dingac Winery in Croatia, which is a fabulous entry-level $14 bottle of wine, which everyone should try, and they'll love it. It's slightly off-dry, but just full of terroir, even at $14. We need more of those types of gateway wines.
Got it. Great.
What I wanted to show today is really the diverse
creme de la
range
creme
of
stuff.
with the untapped potential that's still out there in Croatia.
I appreciate it. Your passion for this subject gets me freaking pumped. So what do we have here?
This is a Debit Lučica by the Bibić Winery in Dalmatia, Croatia. Bibić is the producer. Debit is the grape. It is a grape native to the coastal region of Croatia.
Does it have any ties to any other varietals?
It is unknown at this time.
So are people starting to do some of the DNA of these things?
Yes.
Got it.
Extensive DNA profiles.
Only 150 cases are produced.
Only 150 cases. Only 3,500 vines in this vineyard. This is a single vineyard Debit.
And I've had some crazy stuff on the show. I'm not sure if I've ever had a Debit.
You probably have not. It's an ancient variety. Golden, ancient variety. Only a handful of producers, if that many, are working with it right now.
Yeah. At 40 bones, it could probably... Debit's probably a properly named...
Debit that bank account. But you will never forget it. This producer, Mr. Alan Bibić, is working very hard to get this wine just right. He's one of the few producers in Croatia also that uses American oak, as opposed to French or Slavonian.
There's almost like a fishiness on the
there is
on the
fishiness.
nose, right?
I mean, this does come from
which
a
is
region
great. I
where
love that. I mean, but you know what I mean? It's almost like the first thing that hit in my head, I'm like, does that smell like sardines? I mean, there's like a saltiness, a minerality kind of fish,
definitely a saline mineral quality.
Yeah,
definitely, along with some really warm spices. Maybe like a spicy pear fig thing going on here.
You know what's funny? And I also feel like it's got almost like a potpourri thing. Like I feel like if I was like lost in the mountains of some obscure country, and I found a Yoda type character, and here, take these herbs, and you'd smell it almost like tea meets flour shred up, like very, not only minerality and saltiness, but definitely almost like just like exotic dried flowers.
Mm-hmm. This wine, I had it with a big plate of shrimps, and it was just fabulous. I mean, this is a seafood wine. I mean, it's a lot of things wine. But try this with some seafood. That minerality will just do wonders.
Let's give it a whirl.
Yeah, let's do it. It's a creaminess, but a little tangy acid.
The acid is great. Yeah. I mean, great acidity. Now it almost has like that petrol-y kind of thing going on as well here.
It's viscous on the palate, I think. So
yeah.
You get that little bit of an oily feel.
The oiliness and almost like an olive oil texture, I think, is very attractive to some palates.
Right.
This is a really interesting wine. It definitely goes towards more food-friendly white varietal for sure. It's got a very distinct flavor. I'm really enjoying these new nuances that are coming to the table on this wine. I've not had a whole lot of things that have tasted like this. I guess for me it's got a little, it's almost like Riesling meets Viognier meets Loire Valley Chenin Blanc. Like just kind of like that imaginary it's good. I like it. For my palate, it's probably like an 88 plus 89 point wine, which then gets me a little scared at the $40 price point. for somebody nerdy like me, and luckily I've saved a penny or two, this is worth the cost of the experiment. For a lot of the masses, I'm not so, it depends. Listen, everybody's palate's different. Where does this rank in white wines from Croatia for you? Or is it one of the best ones you like, and one of the solid ones?
This particular Lučica single vineyard production is ranked among some of the best white wines in the coastal region. I would definitely say that. One of the most interesting white wines in the coastal region.
Is it normal? I'm sorry to interrupt.
No.
Is it this body weight all the time? Because it goes up and down for me. It's like a little viscous on the top, but then I do feel a yearning, and I like light white wines, but I do feel a yearning for as much as this has going on. I feel like, what this has? It's almost like a big bag of fruit, right? And the fruits are really good, but the bag, in a way, is like getting torn apart, and like it breaks, and you never got the apples home. That's like the analogy for me, this wine. I feel like some of the structure is not holding the complexity within it. I don't know. For my, and I'm not trying to.
It's both.
I know you're in a, this is your world, but we're riffing.
If I could say, it's both viscous, sort of thick and creamy, but light at the same time, almost ethereal. It's complex. It's a discovery wine. If you're going to spend 40 bones on it, you will be discovering something you've never had before. Probably you won't have anything like it again.
Yeah.
If that's worth something to you.
How many debits have you had?
There are not many out there. So he makes a basic debit bottling, which is a fresh and fruity style.
Yep.
Which retails for about $15 here in the U.S. And then this is his single vineyard. Other than that, the others, nothing credible has yet emerged from the region. So really, this producer is the pioneer. So you personally
have really just had these two debits? Very cool. Have you been to Croatia?
I have been.
How many times? What? Lots.
Lots. And I was just at his winery.
And you haven't tasted local debits?
There are local debits that are produced for table wine.
And so
that the locals consume in quantities.
And you haven't had it,
I have had it too.
But you're not sure if it was 100% debit, which is why you're saying these are the only two debits you've had, or you felt like they weren't even commercial products.
Well, first of all, they're not commercially available in the U.S.
Right.
They are locally in Croatia. They're consumed as table wines. Very simple, straightforward, fruity, light. These are serious debit wines.
Got it.
Which is why I wanted to show them.
Got it. Very cool. Thanks, Cliff. All right. This has one of the great packages I've ever seen in a wine. I love this. It's a little Del Forno-esque, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
A little...
What do we have here?
We have a blend of Cabernet Sauvignon, Merlot, and Terran, a grape called Terran, which is...
where's the Iron Sheik?
Indigenous to the region of Istria.
You keep talking.
In on the north coastal region of Croatia. This wine has gotten a nickname called Super Istrian. Because it is a play on the Cabernet Sauvignon Merlot International.
This is the
style.
Iron Sheik. He's from Tehran, Iran.
All right.
So, it's always good to have
Tehran is a grape that's related to Refosco, which is known in Italy.
Yep.
It grows abundantly in Istria, in Croatia, and this producer, Mr. Klei, is blending it. It's typically a high-acid grape, which he's now blending.
Do you know how much Tehran is in here with the cab?
I think it's about 33%.
Do you think it's a third across the board?
I think it's a third across the board. That Tehran delivers a nice acidity to the Bordeaux-esque qualities of the Cabernet and Merlot.
And Joe Dresner is bringing it in.
Mr. Dresner is bringing it in.
An amazingly talented importer and brings in lots of great wines.
It certainly does. And I picked up this wine at the Whole Foods in New York City.
Very cool.
Columbus and 97th.
Very nice. The color is outrageous. I mean, just great color. Let's give it a sniffy sniff.
Little animal.
Yeah, it really is kind of gamey. It's also a little chalky.
Chalky, definitely. It's a nice
minerality. It's really, and the pepper is coming through as well. But you know what? It really, what it reminds me of? Like, if you like really hunted, and it's like an animal, and you peppered it. Like if somebody's like, nice. What is that? Oh, we pepper our meat here. Like if they just peppered it and wrapped it up. Because
cured. Wild animal curing with black pepper.
Instead of pickled, it's peppered.
Exactly.
It's got a great nose, man. This is really rocking, guys. This is a nose to behold.
This guy is another very small producer. All state-grown fruit. Hands harvested, handmade wine. That's what's going on here.
I love this wine.
The Tehran delivers that acidity that you're getting.
which is pretty much what. And
Great food wine.
Yeah. So, many of you know I love pickles. I get a little hint on the back end of like this pickle component, which I just adore. Now, maybe it got in my head because we just talked about pickling, but that acidity matched with this really bright red fruit, dark black fruit, excuse me. This is one of the most interesting wines I've had in a little while. I'll tell you why. Immediately, what went through my mind is this has enough fruit, dark licorice, explosiveness, body, and pizzazz, but has enough refinement and that great minerality. I mean, I feel like I just went in the ocean and it was not sand down there, but rock. So it was like the sea salt, and rock. I mean, this will appeal to a very big base of wine drinkers.
I think so too.
Big wine drink, people that love bombs, but people that love balance. This really reminds me of like those maybe new age Bordeaux's, that do so well.
Yes.
This is really good.
I served this at my family Christmas dinner, and big hit.
Huge, huh?
People who had never had Croatian wine said, "This is fabulous," and it went so well with the roast beef.
This is fantastic. Mott, let's zoom in on this again. The producer is
Mr. Cly. His name is up here. Cliai.
And this
Ottocento is the
Ottocento Crno?
the blend. The name of the blend.
Got it.
Ottocento Crno. Crno means black. 2007.
Got it.
From
Excuse
the
me.
Istria region of Croatia.
Let's score this absolute beauty from Mr. Clyde. 92 points. It's fantastic. I think it's an imaginary kind of blend of what I love about Shutting Off the Pop and what I love what I love about the Mediterranean, some of the Italian reds. This is a really, really, really good wine. Really good. Big home run. Good job, Cliff. I'm pumped.
Excellent.
Like so big that maybe some of you know, especially my friends in my inner circle, I'm really only drinking sparkling and white wine lately. Like red wine I'm in a bad rut right now of just not being interested in it. This is really interesting stuff. Good stuff. Really good, man. Now, 55 Bones. You came to party. You weren't bashful.
I was not.
I mean, there's not a lot of people who are watching around there like, oh, $55 Croatian wine? Of course.
I'm proud of these wines, and I think
Let's rinse it up.
somewhere out there,
Somebody
people
else.
will appreciate them.
So this is the Bura Berba.
This is Bura. Bura is the family.
Yep.
They're
06.
They're in their fifth generation of winemakers right now. They own small parcel vineyards in southern Dalmatia. This is a Plavac Mali wine. Plavac Mali is the red wine grape that's indigenous to the southern Dalmatian coast. It is related to Zinfandel. It has reached
One of the highest scored wines was a Plavac that I had in the
one
show.
you had in episode 553.
Whoa!
Vajkovic,
Yes. Wow.
Plavac Mali, Barik.
Somebody's prepared. Sometimes they're not prepared, Mott. This man is prepared. Very good. Awesome. I
Another
love that wine.
You did.
Loved
And
it. Are you a fan of that wine?
I am. And you're also sold out.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes that happens. Okay,
So
great
Plavac
color.
Mali,
Yeah.
related to Zinfandel, DNA profiling has shown that Plavac Mali is the offspring of the original Zinfandel, which was native to Croatia. Plavac Mali made it with another grape called Dobricic, and Srnjak, which is the original name of Zinfandel. Is Srnjak Kaštelanski. Say that.
Sounds like a Russian.
Made it with Dobricic, and thus Plavac Mali was born. Plavac Mali survived the whole Phylloxera craziness, emerged to be the most dependable red wine and most quality-driven, terroir-driven red wine grape in the coastal
Mott,
region
I want you
of
to
Croatia.
smell this. This has one of the most floral, bubblegum-esque, just what an interesting nose. Mott,
Smells like wine.
it sure does.
Now let me
Oh,
say,
you're bad. What do you think?
I smell the bubble gum.
It almost smells like Mr. Bubble Bath from when I was little. Do you remember? Do you know what that smelled like before you put it in the?
to me it smells like bubblegum meets sun-made raisins. You push those two together and you chew them up, and that's
All
what you
parents
got.
out there right now, if you want to do something ridiculous, if you want to have a $60 Mr. Wizard science experiment, go out and buy $5 Mr. Bubble Bath and buy this $55 Plavic. I want you to put them side by side and smell them. I'm telling you, Mott, I haven't smelled Mr. Bubble in a long time, but soon I will, as little Misha gets a little older. I'm dying to smell it because that is immediately what I smell in this. Because Mr. Bubble had that bubblegummy kind of thing, but soapiness and the raisin, This smells nice. Like, you like it, Mont?
It's
did
very
smell
pretty.
great.
Right?
So
It just
pretty.
smells nice.
I want to say that these grapes, Plavas-Mali grapes, are grown on slopes in an area called Dingach, which is on the Pelishats Peninsula. These vineyards are on 45-degree angles that go straight down to the sea.
Are they
like
using
this.
mules and horses?
In the old days, they used mules. Now they use a lot of ropes and just hitches, and it's all hand-harvested grapes.
Hence the 55 boats.
It's like
It's
Douro
expensive.
Valley meets Moselle meets White Cliffs of Dover kind of feel. I mean, it's these white, tumbling limestone
You just-
rocks that go down
the
to the
Douro-
blue Adriatic Sea with vines in between the rocks.
You just mentioned two places that every wine nerd loves so much, so I know why you love it. All right, let's give it a whirl.
Let's give it a whirl. Big
So
fan.
this is much more elegant and structured, and it's much more complex than the last one we had. Last one was bigger and had a delicious factor to it.
Right.
This, I feel like you can even tell by the tone I'm talking right now. Like I came down just a notch on excitement, and this I feel like you've got to kind of show a little respect to. This is quite refined stuff.
This is very elegant.
It's kind of like going to somebody's home and the person's like a big kid, right? Like the last one was like a big kid. He had like basketball courts and and then you go to somebody else's home who's made it, and you're gonna have like a white glove dinner. Just different personalities. This is a very different personality to the last wine we had that was so popular. But for the same reason as I like different kinds of people, this really has a place. I mean, this is a Bordeaux wine drinker's wine.
This has some Bordeaux-esque qualities
You know,
to it.
we're talking about Zinfandel here, and to the people that are watching, Zinfandel, Turley, Martinelli, Ridge, Rosenblum, Sagacio, big wines. When I taste this, I'm like, Fougères and Hauperzone and Clos Glace. I'm thinking Bordeaux as I'm drinking it.
Right, which is Plavas-Mali, which is the offspring of Zinfandel, which is taken to another level. I mean, there's a reason why Plavas-Mali supplanted Zinfandel in Croatia. It was a better grape.
And so you feel it's a better grape.
It's got a thicker skin. That's the tannin structure.
And having thicker skin is very important.
It does have a thicker skin. It's better able to endure the drought conditions, which are crazy in Dalmatia, Croatia. It's better resistant to disease, and it delivers more tannin, which delivers structure. This is a wine for the ages. It really is.
You like this wine?
I love this wine. I love this wine. Only 2,400 bottles of this are produced a year.
I thought it was because of the vintage.
No,
That was 06.
It is
Let me-
a handmade wine.
2004.
2,400 bottles
Excuse me.
produced a year.
I really like this wine. The floral aspects continue to come through. To me, I'm a little more excited about the last wine for my own palate, which is funny because I always talk about, more refinement and balance. But sometimes when you do big right, however, this is really good. I mean, this is a 91 point wine to me. 55 bones, I get it. But once again, I mean, these are serious wines. What I like about this is, do I wish they're a little more value driven? Of course. I'll be honest with you. This is value driven at $29. This one's more like you're getting what you pay for. But, it's great. I mean, these are wines you can bring to very serious wine drinkers. Mm-hmm. These wines hold up. Blind tasting these, people are going to be like, oh, you bring this to, a Cabernet-based, Bordeaux tasting, and you could trick some people.
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't act like a Bordeaux Cabernet, but it's refined and elegant enough that you're like, it's kind of like let's go to 1950s dinner in America, and you go to a very serious dinner. There's something very different about that dinner happening in Georgia and happening in New York City, right?
Yeah.
Though it's still happening in America, there's going to be different nuances to the traditions and
To the cuisine.
just everything, right? To the white gloves down here and, here, it's just different. Same with this. What I love about this is that there's a different kind of elegance to it. It's not the same that you might be used to, but I like this medium to full body. This is not full body.
No,
it's
it's
medium
not.
to full body,
It's not at all.
which is much easier to
Which
drink.
is unusual. Also, it's very unusual for Plavas-Mali, which is typically much darker.
Much darker. Again, this
This
all-
has an elegance to it, which is unusual.
God, really, I'll be honest with you. I can't get over the nose. Like even just now as I was going, there's part of me that would tell you that I prefer to smell this wine to drink into it.
Yeah, the tannins are still a little fierce on this wine, but
They don't bother me. It just smells freaking awesome.
there's something, I don't know whether it's violets or roses, but
It's
something
so
going on
floral.
there.
So floral. All right, let's dump that and that, and let's get to the last wine. Let's rinse it out. Now this is a little bit more of a traditional bottle, right?
This is more of a traditional bottle, very traditional producer for the region. This is the region called Slavonia, which is in the continental northern portion of Croatia. This is Mr. Enjingi.
Enjingi.
Who
It's a classic label as well, isn't
classic, very sort of typical for the region. This region used to be part of the Austro-Hungarian Empire. A lot of those traditions have carried over into this region. Mr. Enjingi owns all of his business.
it? Ivan Enjingi. Ivan, excuse me.
Ivan Enjingi, yes. All state-grown fruit, very meticulous, principled individual who does not compromise with his wines, and I hope
He sounds like a serious dude.
he's totally serious. He makes some serious ass
Are you
wines.
intimidated by him slightly?
I've actually not met him, which
okay.
is my great sadness.
Mhm.
I did miss him when I was in Croatia last time, but I know people who know him, and just he's very meticulous and very
Nice.
serious winemaker. So hopefully that will be reflected here.
So this is a Riesling.
This is a late harvest Riesling, clocking in at 14% alcohol, with 10 grams of residual sugar still.
Mm.
So
Great
we're-
nose,
So we're talking
beautiful
about a
color.
big boy wine here.
Almost like apricot pie, kind of just like a pretty nose. Very, very like bakery meets fruit kind of thing going on. Little petrol coming through as well.
Definitely a little
Yeah.
petrol. Definitely.
Let's give it a whirl. Much drier than I expected, actually. Even knowing the grams there, I thought it'd be.
It's so integrated with that acidity, that alcohol.
By far, the biggest thing with late harvest Rieslings is that anything that starts getting off dry or sweet, I truly believe that most people don't do it very well. I do. I feel like they let the sugar do the work, and that's why all the critics, all those critics were always scoring wines so high, right? Dessert wines 98, 97. Let's be honest, we have sweet teeth,
We do.
and we love it. This is a very different experience. This is the kind of wine that I think has borderline potential to make both somebody who likes dry wine and sweet wine happy.
Yeah, I agree.
I would say it's more dry than sweet.
Definitely. Yeah.
What do you have to add on this one?
What I love about this wine is it's got such a great mouthfeel. I mean, it's creamy, it's tart, it's
Very tart, huh?
minerally, it's fruity all at once.
Do you get the big pineapple play on this?
Definitely, yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Just you cut open a pineapple and you throw a piece in your mouth.
With like a rock, too.
With a rock.
You gotta throw a rock in there as well, just for the
some
minerality.
chalk maybe,
Yeah.
and throw in, I don't know, a pear or something, or an
No, but,
apricot. Yeah.
well, you know, it's funny. The pear, I think, actually came across quite a bit in
Yeah.
the flavor as well. I like this wine a lot. It's a little hot.
It is.
I would say the one thing, like, if if I was by myself here, I'd be like, puff the magic trick. It's got a little the heat, which,
But it's a
but
nice-
we're at room temperature, so we're gonna see that a little bit more than if this was cold.
Definitely, and I find it's a nice heat. It's a really warm glow that's kind of just making me feel really great.
So you feel like this is kind of what you take to a football game to keep yourself warm. Forget about the little pint of vodka. I'll take it to Cincinnati, right? I don't think I can get this through
You
security.
won't, then you will end up in security for sure.
I like this wine. The heat is bothering me a little bit. To me, this is more like an 88 plus point wine. Good stuff. I mean, the problem is when you bring smart wine guys, they're going to make really smart decisions. And he brought four really well-made wine. I mean, at the end of the day, I think you always respect well-made wines. At least for me. It's tough to pan well-made wines, even if it's not your style. And that's what I feel here. What probably surprises me more than anything, and this is not fair, this is a prejudice to an area that doesn't have exposure here. When I look at new areas or under the radar areas, often on the show I'll say, it feels like the ingredients are here, but the chef is not doing a good job. I've tasted wines from Baja California, Mexico, Arizona, different places that don't get as much credit, and I'm always at a feel of if there was a little bit more wine talent from a vineyard manager and a winemaker, this would have been a much better wine. I almost at some level feel not the reversed here, but it is very clear drinking these wines, they are really technically savvy and solid.
Yeah, I agree. And really what I wanted to show today is not so much these wines in particular, but the untapped potential that's still out there in Croatia. I mean, unfortunately, there are not many wines from Croatia available right now in the U.S. What I've tasted in Croatia when I was there in November, just some stuff just blew me away. Unfortunately, that stuff's not yet available here in the U.S.
And what are you doing about that? Are you talking to suppliers and telling them, hey, check this out? Are you working with active suppliers?
We have a great team of importers here in the U.S. Who are out there not only trying to sell the wine, but also talking to the producers about the U.S. market and how to best get these wines into the mainstream of the U.S. market, what the tastes are here, what we need. We need those gateway wines. We need those well-made $15 wines that will introduce someone to Croatia so that later maybe they will advance up to the $50 wine just to give it a try or bring it to their Christmas dinner. But yeah, we have great people talking to these producers, telling them we have a number of people working on projects right now that are developing wines strictly for the U.S. market that are going to come in at $12 to $15.
Great show.
That has to happen.
Cliff, great show.
Very.
You're doing great work.
Thank
and
you so much.
in a category I think that is very fascinating. I really hope that I get to Croatia in the next couple of years and really see what's going on there. And guys, I'm serious. This is serious, serious stuff. I'm in love with it. Well, I know you know the show, so question of the day. I'm sure you've given this some thought.
Well,
You seem very prepared.
I would love to know if anyone out there has had a Christian wine, something that wasn't tasted here, and what you thought of it. Or if you tasted one of these, give us your thoughts, both good and bad. We want to know.
Awesome. You, with a little bit of me, and remarkable guys that are taking on really interesting projects like this, we're changing the wine world, whether they like it or not. And hopefully, I'll have my beard on tomorrow's show.